Man, I can't remember the last time I did one of these videos. It had to be at least 2 years ago. But in today's unbagging video, I'm going to be talking about some European zits, some red Sacs, and some grubs that are fat. Not to mention everything that's in this bag. Nah, but seriously, I think it has been like 3 years since I did my last unbagging video. Typically I find these pretty boring, but I just couldn't help myself. I'm just so excited for ice fishing this season. I've already spent hundreds of dollars for ice fishing this year. And I have a lot to get into, as you can see, so let's just jump right into it. Now, I'm sure the first thing you guys saw was this gulp package here. These are 2.5-inch chartreuse minnows. And I got these specifically for smallmouth and crappie. Hopefully this year too I can do some crappie catch and cooks. I've never ate a crappie before and I hear they taste good. So again, just some gulp chartreuse minnows, 2.5 inches. Staying on that gulp theme, I have some gulp pinched off crawlers. Perfect just to throw in a little jig head if you don't have actual like earthworms. Now I have a lot to go through, so I'm gonna just basically fly through some of these because some of them I don't really need to talk to. They're just kind of self-explanatory. Like I got 4 ice fishing rod socks. Going back to that gulp, I have a pink pinched off crawler. This I think I'm gonna jig for trout with. Don't know yet, I just thought it looked cool. And I've never used these before. These are glow spoons and I got them in a couple different brands here, and these things are pretty cool because they come with a glow stick that you actually can stick inside this bait and night fish with. So honestly I thought that was pretty cool. I'm gonna be doing a lot of ice fishing at night this year. And like I said, since I'm gonna be doing a lot of ice fishing at night this year, I bought a lot of glow-in-the-dark lures, and this is just a UV flashlight that you just shine on your lures and it makes them glow in the dark. Now some G juice for the bait bucket. Just helps keep those shiners alive a little bit longer. Got 8-pound Suffix Ice Magic line. Now typically I don't go much smaller than 8-pound test just because there's a lot of pickerel where I live. You'll actually see that in an upcoming ice fishing video I did. But I figure really that 8 to 10-pound test is really good for bass and pickerel fishing. If I was specifically targeting trout, I'd probably go with 4 or even 6-pound line. The trout really aren't big where I live in New Hampshire, honestly. Like I'm really only gonna catch maybe 12, 13-inch trout. But speaking of trout, I saw these at Bass Pro Shops and I thought these were so cool. I don't know if you can see inside that jar there. The red egg sacs, and I thought these were so cool. Also picked up some wax worms from Bass Pro Shops. These are garlic scented wax worms as well. Perfect to put on like a 1/32 ounce jig head. Honestly, basically like this. This would be perfect. But the ultra glow jigs are basically the reason why I bought this flashlight. All you do is just shine the flashlight on the head of the jig here. I also picked up a bunch of small jig heads, all about 1/32 ounce or 1/64 ounce, and basically in only 2 kinds. This normal one, a lot of them are the ultra glow, but then I also picked up a Google Eye jig, and I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's a small rattle inside this jig, and some of the places where I'm gonna be ice fishing isn't really the clearest, so I really think having the small glass rattle inside this small jig here is gonna help call in the fish. Now, these butterfly jigs from VMC are one of my favorite jig heads. Yes, I would tip this with the garlic scented waxworms, but I also picked up a bunch of those as well. I'm not going to go through all of them just because it would take forever. And I also picked up some of these baits here. I had no idea Phantom made like ice fishing lures. Also picked up some Gamakatsu bait holder hooks, size 8. To be honest with you guys, really any small hook would work. You really don't have to specifically go with Gamakatsus. That's just the ones that I like. I also went ahead and picked myself up a bunch of metal spoons from Bass Pro Shops. The little Clio here all the way on the left, and then these are just Bass Pro Shops Flashy Times, I believe they're called. And actually these were on sale for only $1.88, so I figured why not try them. Both of these, the little Clio and the Bass Pro Shops Flashy Times, I would tip with either like a waxworm or a minnow head, something like that. I rarely use jigs and spoons without tipping it. Here's a cool little Japanese bait from Little Jack. It's just a 2-inch little crawfish, but it's just a little soft plastic bug, I guess you could say, that I'm gonna jig some panfish with. Well, this bait I picked up for pike fishing. Hopefully I'm gonna do a little bit more pike fishing this ice fishing season, but this is a 1 ounce, basically lipless crankbait. This is in perch color. Now, staying on that kind of lipless crankbait theme, I picked up 3 different kinds of crankbaits. One from Rapala, one from Euro Tackle, and then one from 13 Fishing. I will say though, that Z-Viber is a really nice pink and gold color. Pretty excited to use this thing. Then I picked up a Acme Hyperglide, and this thing looks really cool too. Actually, it says right here, wing action creates a sonar attraction that fish just can't resist. We'll see about that. But this is an interesting bait. Pretty excited to try that out this year too. Then got these big Tungsten Fatso Grub jig heads. They both glow in the dark, one pink, one blue. And these jig heads here actually are slightly bigger than the other ones that I showed you, and these ones here I'm going to pair up with the Gulp Chartreuse minnows. I think this is going to be a deadly combination for just crappie and smallmouth. Also picked up a couple European zits. I already have like 10 of these, and everybody has fished with a Swedish pimple, but it's just a spoon, and again, I rarely just fish spoons by themselves. I always tip it with something like a shiner head, a wax worm, even a little salmon egg I've used. And then speaking of little fake salmon trout eggs, I think those would fit perfectly on the back of this jig here. It looked like exactly like a little caterpillar that had fallen into the water. But man, look at that color in the middle. Brown orange, it's called. I like that one the best. I also picked up more fly jigs from Lunker Hunt. I love fly jigs, they're my favorite kind of jig. Don't know why, don't even know if they work better than normal jigs, but just really kind of like a confidence thing. Got some split shots. Can't have too many of those for ice fishing. I got size 14 barrel swivels. The smallest ones I could get away with for trout fishing. Also went ahead and bought some 1-inch minnows from Lunker City, and I'm gonna pair that up with these butterfly jigs, or fly jigs that I call them. Alright, so that is it for the unbagging today. I know, super entertaining stuff right here. I really do think from the help of my Garmin Striker 4, I'm really gonna hook into some more fish. And since this is like my first unbagging or unboxing video in 3 years, I'm sure I missed some things, and I'm sure I'm gonna review the footage and be like, man, I should have said this, I should have said that. But even though I've been doing this for over 4 years, I'm still learning. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it.